We discussed today is placing concrete for the pavement, and typically we can do that with the form riding equipment. That equipment still need the traditional formwork so that the fresh concrete can be get hardened, get strength before we remove the formwork. And then the other technology come that become more popular use that we call slip form paving, so that we don't need the traditional formwork during this pavement. So how it works? Basically, the slip form paving is able to spreading the concrete, vibrating, consolidating, and finishing. And then when the paver leave uh, the areas, the concrete already gains strength without any form. So that we call split form paving. And that show in this finger here, as you can see, this is the split form paving. Normally, if we use the form riding equipment on both sides, we need the formwork to hold the concrete. But in this case, the split form paving, they can continue to go when the paver leave the areas. This concrete already gain some strength that we don't need the formwork, so it can hold the shape for itself, and that also ensure continuous paving for the equipment and concrete. How to determine productions and production, because concrete it measure in terms of volume cubic yard, unlike the asphalt as above, we're talking about ton per hour. So this production of the concrete paving, we measure cubic yard per hours. How to determine? First, the depth, the width, and the speed. Okay, so that first thing first, depth, what is the layer of the concrete, and then measure in feet. What is the width? For example, one lane of the highway. Speed, what is the speed of this split form paver? And then we have to, because that per hours and this is feet per minute, so we have to change unit conversion 60 minutes per hours. And then because that is feet, so cubic feet, we divide by 27 to convert to cubic yard, and whatever efficiency factor as we did before in previous lesson, we can apply in. So basically that in production, what is the depth, the width, and speed, and then unit conversion, consider efficient factor, that we can determine the paving production. Similar for in asphalt paving, in concrete paving, the balance number of trucks can be determined from the paver production, which is the split form paver in this way, and that measured by cubic yard per hours that can place concrete. And then the truck production also measure cubic yard per hour per trucks. So that equation, and then let's apply that in problem 3 that I already worked out and just walk through with you to save some time when you watch the video, but it still be able to specific so that you can understand this problem. So in this problem, we have a 15 feet wide, 9-inch thick concrete pavement, and is to be used slip form using 8 cubic yard batches mixed at a central mix plant, so that the concrete is mixed in the plant. Each batch is mixed for an average of 2.7 minutes, and the plant is 70% efficiencies. Plant production match paver production. So what does that mean here? Ensure continuous operation of the concrete pavement, just like we did in asphalt pavement. Paver production is 90% efficiencies. Truck cycle time is 45 minutes. Hourly rate for equipment and labor and material unit cost is as follows. So they give the equipment, paver, texture bar, tie bar, water trucks, 2 pickups, whole trucks, and then labor, 4 men, 3 operator, 6 laborer, 2 finisher, truck driver. And then material, we have concrete, $47.50 per cubic yard. That a little bit low compared to the current market, about $100 per cubic yard. Batching, So that in the plan, incidental, and then O&P stand for overhead and profit, 32%. Find a number of trucks, paver speed, and unit cost, dollar per cubic yard cost, and dollar per square yard cost, square yard of the pavement. Then you need to find out first the number of trucks. We need to know the paver production and truck production. First, the plant productions, and one batch they give us 8 cubic yard batch, so that in one cycle they can produce 8 cubic yard, and each cycle is 2.7 minutes, so that we can determine how many cubic yard per minute that they can produce, and then we do the unit conversion. So from here we can determine the standard production rate, cubic yard per hours of the plant, and they operate at 70% efficiency. Then we can have that is 70%, so we can determine that is 124 cubic yard per hour. So that is the plant production, and the question give us is the plant production match the paver productions. What does that mean? It match, it means the same. So the paver production is 124 cubic yard per hour. Consider the efficiency, everything. And at this point here, we already know the paver productions. If we want to find out the number of trucks, we need to know what is the truck production. So that the next step we need to do. The truck production, one batch for the plant, they produce 8 cubic yards, so that 8 cubic yards will be loaded on the truck for one truck, and the cycle time for the truck given in the problem 45 minutes, so that you will see how much cubic yard per minute the truck can produce. And then because we measure per hour, so we do the unit conversion, 60 minutes per 1 hour. What does that mean? For one truck, the production of the truck is 10.6 cubic yard per hour per truck. And then we apply the equation, the balanced number of trucks, paper production over truck production. So that's why we have this equation, 124, 10.06 cubic yard per hour per truck. Then cancel out cubic yard per hour, we get truck. So it's about 12 trucks to get the balance between the plant production and the paper production. That is the first question asked. The second question is the paper speed. And the paper speed, we need to use this equation, paving production, because that is speed that we need to find out. So we need to find out the depth, the width, efficiency. So you can have here the depth 10 inches, the width 12 feet, because that is the pavement we have. And then efficiency for the paving, it means 90% paper efficient. So we have all of that equation in here. Then we can apply to determine the speed. So that is the step number B, paper speed. So paper production, apply the equation, and that paper production at equal to the plant production, 124 cubic yard per hour, equal to the depth, 9 inch, and unit conversion, they have to be feet, and then the width, 15 feet, the speed, convert minutes to hours, and then convert cubic feet to cubic yard, divide by 27. Efficiency for the paper production is 90%. So from that, everything we know, which is only don't know speed, convert, then we have 5.51 feet per minute. What does that mean? To ensure the balancing, yes, paver had to move 5.5 feet per minute, so that the whatever the concrete produced at plant deliver through the whole unit, the trucks, to here in the smooth continuous operation. And then from that we can find out the paper speed. The last one is the cost. So basically use the cost for the equipment, the labor and material here to determine what is the cost per cubic yard of concrete that you pave, including everything from the producing to material, to labor, to equipment, and then also per square yard of the pavement. So that go to see the cost. First is the trucking, and that this is needed for the equipment. Needed for equipment. You see whole truck 32 inch. So we have here trucking 32, 28 per hours. That is the people operator. So because to have a truck, we need operator and we need the truck itself, the equipment. So that we have 32 plus 28. And with that, they produce what is their capacity, what is their production. With that one truck and one driver, they produce 10.6 cubic yard per hour as we determine in the A, right? Truck production. And that per truck. So we can be able to determine the unit cost per cubic yard for trucking, including equipment and labor. Similarly, we do for paving. So the first parenthesis here basically cover all the equipment costs for the paving and then labor costs for the paving, so that we have two components, equipment and labor. And that with that crews, including equipment for paving and also the labor crew, they produce 124 cubic yard per hour. Then we divide, then we get the unit costs for paving, including equipment and labor, is $5.26 per cubic yard. Then we find out the direct cost. Direct cost, if you learn in project planning, so the cost directly attributable to the physical work of the pavement, and in this case, including the material in the concrete, basically batching at the plant, the cost to produce the concrete, to mix the concrete, trucking, equipment and labor, paving, including equipment and labor, and incidentals that we have. So we have that is the material given in the table, batching, incidental, and overhead profit. So we have here, there, material, batching, dollar per cubic yard, trucking, paving, and 3.75. That is the incidental. So we have total $71.82 per cubic yard for the direct costs. And the overhead profit on top of the direct cost is 32%. So you have that 32% time the direct cost, you have $22.98 per cubic yard. So add them together, we get the total unit cost, including overhead and profit, $94.8 per cubic yard. So that is the answer for per cubic yard. The question also asks what is the unit cost per square yard, so that we have to determine. And it here, the concrete volume cost to a square yard. So that is the question asked. And as you can see, each square yard of the concrete, what do we have? Square yard, it means 3 feet times 3 feet. So that is square yard. But here, the thickness, the width of the concrete is 9 inches at given. So you have to time 9 inches. And of course, unit conversion to feet, so divide by 12. And because cubic yard, so we unit conversion divided by 27, we have 0.25 cubic yard per square yard. So what does that mean for the road? For the road here, for this road, this pavement, with that given, for any square yard of the paving that you saw in here, any square yard, consider the thickness of the concrete is, the thickness here is 9 inches. Then the volume of 1 square yard going down 9 inches is 0.25 cubic yard per square yard. So with that one, we can go back here to find out the total unit cost per square yard. So this is one unit cost for 1 cubic yard, and then each square yard is 0.25 cubic yard per square yard. So you have cancel out cubic yard, so you dollar per square yard. So it's $23.70 per square yard. So that is the